Okay, well, we got some interesting ass cards coming up in here. And we have two cards indicating a twin flame connection. It doesn't have to be now family, okay? But the fact of the matter is like, this is a pretty doggone big connection. If it is a twin flame, then it is something that's quite profound. Now, there may be age differences here, but I don't have any cards that really indicate that. So I won't be going down that road. But what I will be saying is that there's a connection here that's definitely, definitely making people anxious. Now, the underlying energy does show the devil, so that does indicate to me that some people may be feeling like there's a connection, there's a deep tie. Not that anyone feels trapped or obligated, but I feel like somebody feels like this connection may be either one, two things: a taboo, or they just can't seem to shake the connection. They can't seem to shake it or get over it. Now, for some people here, this may be that this person feels committed, tied. They have no problem with that connection. They feel like they're definitely connected, and they feel like there's nothing really that can separate them. What's underneath there? The King of Pentacles. Okay, so that was you, Taurus, but it could also be another Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. But this person, like, I feel like when you're in love, you're so serious in the sense of like you don't play around. That person belongs to you. You belong to the other person. You guys are a unit, a connection, an item. And I know people don't use item no more, but that's true. I'm old. I don't care. I still use it. I'm old in spirit. But anyway, um, I do feel like there's a connection between you and this individual. Obviously, I said that before, but I feel like there's some resistance only because there is a bit of a power struggle with this. Now, the reason why I say this is because the Queen of Swords is coming up in the mind space. Someone's definitely a little more detached, looking at this in a very logical manner, very analytical when it comes to the connection here. They also know their truth. They know what they believe in. They know their stance on things. I think they are kind of waiting for some sort of information, though. I think they've said their piece. Because this Queen of Swords, she's very dormant. She won't go out of her way to make to extend a message. That's more of the King's kind of thing. Um, and I feel like whoever this person is, they're waiting for some sort of message here. They're very clear, and they've been very open, and they're very aware of everything that they're feeling and thinking. Everything's like clear minded with this person, but this person's holding back something terrible. You have the Four of Pentacles here. Now, typically, I do read this side as you guys, Taurus. It's like my default for the soulmate investigation readings that I offer on Instant Go. So this is this is the default way, but you are totally allowed to flip on the other side if this side doesn't resonate with you. But somebody's holding back. Somebody's not expressing themselves, and it could be that they just have lost some things before, and they're focusing on the losses that they've experienced. Therefore, they're not looking at the potential for there to be a relationship, or there in fact is a relationship there at all. Now, some of this could also indicate here that this person may have shut this person down before, and they regret the decision, but they don't realize that this person may be be accepted, maybe open to accepting them back. But this person's mindset is so Four of Pentacles. It's like they're not opening up. They're holding stuff in, clinging on to comfort zones. They're not really expressive. They're not opening up. They're just a nice little boxed up cage. But how they, and how they're displaying that is reflective of what they may be missing in their life and what they lost. Okay. A lot of emphasis is here on the lost here and what's not there, what's no longer existing. And I feel like that kind of expression to this is really the reasoning as to why they're not expressing and not opening up, right? And I think they're that the decision to kind of accept the loss and embrace the future, embrace the love. That's the hard part, because I kind of feel like this person may be feeling like if they turn their back towards what was gone or what was lost, they may be giving this opportunity, or maybe they may be feeling like that's taking this sort of situation for granted. Like they just can quickly get over something like that, get over a breakup, get over someone that they've lost, physically. But ultimately, I feel like this person may be, just unready to release this energy because they haven't truly forgiven themselves or forgiven the situation as to what happened here. So they can shift their focus to the opportunity for new love, since that is the obstacle. Believe it or not, that's the obstacle. Everybody's got the Five of Swords here. Everybody's like, what about this? What about that? What about the doubts? And this person here may be very clear on what they want, but they're showing the indecision. And to me, the Seven of Pentacles can be indecision only because the person's trying to figure out whether or not this is something they really want to continue growing or continue building on. Now, they understand that there's work that still needs to be done, and they know what work needs to be done there too. And it's about whether or not it's something that they can truly dedicate their time to. Now, the reasoning why they have this kind of mindset here is because of justice. Now, that's a weird card to get there in the first place, but I feel like it's karmic in the sense of a connection here. Now, I'm saying this because, as well, like, I think this person is looking at ways to improve or try to make this relationship better, but they're waiting. There's not much they can do. They have to decide whether they're in or out, but I feel like they're ultimately in. I don't think they're out at all. I feel like this person's in. They know what they want. They know the truth. They know that they're not indecisive here. And honestly, I feel like they're trying to figure out what else they can do to improve the potential for this relationship to connect. Now, with retreat, which it says it is time to disconnect from the world, I feel like there is this time apart that you guys have, the separation that you have, and it's meant only to recharge and to rejuvenate the spirits. Because if you look at this person is doing all this stuff for balancing purposes, and this person is trying to get a balance between not necessarily a balance between their head and their heart, but this is about accepting their emotions. That I see with the lovers. I understand this is also balance. This is also having a it's in a way it is having a balance of your head and your heart as well. Some people see this as a head or heart decision. I don't see that as a head or heart decision, because this person just has to ultimately accept that they love the thing that they love, or perhaps not to let their heart get too carried away, and really think things through. But I feel like in this sort of situation here, the expression, the emotion is not getting through. The thing that's being suppressed here is the emotion, because ultimately, I feel like if this person was truly mourning, they wouldn't feel clogged up at this point, right? They won't see this relationship as like, I can't open up, I can't express, I can't take that risk and lose something else, because I think they haven't gotten over what that this loss isn't something that, that they can not only take back, but also let that determine their future. Because the lovers here is showing that there is a connection that this person feels, and that's the hard part, right? They know that that's there. Sometimes I feel like this is you guys, right, or someone else, that they may not know at all. They may not feel it. They may not realize it, because that pain of losing something else, something very precious to them, it's so painful that it's kind of trumping this amazing feeling. But that's the weird thing, right? It doesn't. It can't. The lovers is way more stronger than the Five of Cups for me. And combine that with the Devil. That's a really strong connection. But the fact that this person is trying to hold on to what's lost, to remind them that's to never go into a relationship again, so they don't lose and feel in pain, that is something that the mind is doing. I feel this is convincing the heart of what the mind is trying to say, but the heart's already made up. So it's really about accepting what your truth is and going for it. Because what brought you two together, very weirdly enough, was the Five of Swords. I feel like you guys both lucked out in something. That both of you guys both experienced something really badly. Some pain that was lost here. Somebody may have, you may have been left behind. You may have been, defeated in some sort of way. You may have lost something, and you may have had to kind of look out for yourself, look out for your own needs, make sure that you were taken care of. But the challenge is now healing that energy, healing that, that need to kind of make sure that you've gotten everything that you needed, and make sure that you're taken care of in the sense that other people's expense, at other people's expense, really, right? Making sure that you're taken care of, over someone else's feelings, over someone else's, emotions. And I feel like the healing process is coming up from this, right? You guys connected due to some sort of loss, some sort of defeat, some sort of failure or something. And I typically don't see failure. Like, failure is just a process of life. I mean, think about everybody that's been successful in their life. They had to fail a gazillion times. A million. That's not a word, but a gazillion times in order for them to be able to be successful. And I feel like this is one of those things. Something may have happened where you didn't feel, you or the other person, or both of you guys felt taken advantage of, or maybe taken, something was lost from you, something was gone, something wasn't very successful in your eyes, and that's what brought you two together. But what is the challenges you're facing now is starting something new and getting away from this fantasy world that you guys have been disconnected in, right? You've disconnected from the world, and now it's like, let's get back into it. Let's jump back in. But there's a lot of holding back here, resistance. Living life again. Your mind is convincing you of trying to stay in the past, try to stay in the mindset of I gotta take care of me. I can't let anybody else in my life right now because I can't trust them. And this person, I feel like, is ready to, but they're looking for you to do it. They're wanting to do it with you. It's almost like, at the same time, I feel like this person needs to do it on their own anyway, because where they're coming from is looking for like a kind of like a way for someone to help them do it, and they don't need it. They don't need help. They could just start. Because look at the Seven of Pentacles. Whatever they're waiting on, it can, definitely is going to prosper, but there's work that still needs to be done, and they can do that at the same time. But what they're doing, I feel like, is waiting for some sort of response. Now, sometimes this person may be looking to apologize, or someone's trying to make amends with someone, not necessarily to look for a forgiveness or an apology, but to just even out the playing field, to just kind of get things sorted out, get things right. Because I don't think this person meant any ill will. I don't think anybody has any mean intentions. The Queen of Swords is not rude. She just will not tolerate, people that backstab her. Now, the thing is, too, I think this person may have trust issues as well, only because they have been hurt before. They've been in toxic relationships. They've been betrayed. They've been backstabbed, perhaps. But this person also hasn't gotten that balance in themselves, which is why they may be waiting for someone to extend themselves, looking to make sure that you are coming at them with legitimacy, because this person has been betrayed before as well, if you have been betrayed as well too. So y'all coming from the very same energy, right? So this person, both of you guys may have trusting problems, right? Problems with trusting each other, trusting anybody, because of what you guys both experienced, and that's what brought you two together. But the thing is now healing, and the healing part is hard because you guys have been hurt before. You know what that feels like. So to try to overcome that is a big feat, but it's not impossible. It takes the first step, which is to accept feelings, accept what you feel, instead of pushing them down, holding on to them, focusing on them, and finding that, trying to make a reason as to not express them or to look at them, because not looking at them is going to create a tsunami. So I feel like looking at your emotions, knowing if coming up with a dream, especially if you know what you want, if you know what you feel, it's the most important to look at it now, because that's going to help you overcome the pains that you've been feeling, the pains that you've experienced, both of you. If you know what you want, you know what you're going for, you know what you're trying to get to it, right? That's an incentive to heal, because you have something to go for now. You have hope. You have a new dream. You have a new aspiration. But you have to start by loving yourself first. And I feel like both of you guys are learning from each other how to love yourselves, if that makes sense. So this is very beautiful reading, guys. It's tough, to say the very least, but very empowering. Wow. So let's go ahead and take a look. Ooh, chop wood. Chop wood is coming up. Definitely work needs to be done here. It's not going to happen on its own. And it starts by taking that step. It starts by putting the work in. And I think the person may be waiting on you, but there's some things that they need to clean up too. Not in the sense that they have things that they've got, they got baggage or whatever. Everybody has got baggage. I've got baggage. There's no judgment here. But in order to take our power back, we have to look at what's taking our, what we're giving our power to in the first place. Right? Whether that is fear, whether that's trust issues, whether it's the past, whatever it is, in order for us to get our power back, we have to acknowledge what we're giving our power to in the first place. And I feel like this situation is focusing hardcore on each and every last one of y'all's individual values and morals, so you guys can live free and love freely without any repercussions, without having any fear attached to it, without any regrets that you may have later on because you may have trusted someone. Because ultimately you have to trust yourself, because I think the real thing is, right, the thing is that hurts us the most when it comes to trust issues is that we don't hate the person or are upset with the person that broke our trust. Usually, right? We are upset with ourselves for trusting them in the first place, right? We lose trust, not just with them, but with ourselves. And that is something that needs to be repaired, because you do deserve a second chance. You deserve another opportunity. You deserve to have this love that's coming into your life. But in order for you to have that, you have to start healing that broken trust that you have with yourself. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part. I could say that I could definitely be the person to sit here to tell you that it's a very hard thing to do, but it's not impossible because you can overcome it, and you have someone around you that will help you heal yourself. Not look to them to heal you and love on you, but you to love yourself and to trust yourself again. You know, but it starts by trusting you. It's a big thing, and chop wood is no joke when it says it's going to be some work, but it's not work that's going to be, that's going to be just cheap and, it's not going to mean anything. It's going to have long lasting effects, healthy, long lasting effects, especially if you do it the way that heals you and puts love back into your life.